Hi guys, this is G17. Welcome to my video review of the OCT Strategic G17 guide rod. So this guide rod has been in the market for a short while, and it is made by a company called Ocean Custom Tactical, or better known as OCT Strategic Partners, based in Japan. Now, this company is actually very interesting because they manufacture a lot of unique custom stuff. I primarily pay attention to the Glock stuff that they make for their SAI series, that I think that they make in-house, along with the enhancements, custom parts, and pistols, of course. Furthermore, if you're like me, you like Glocks a lot, I can actually see that they have a couple of Caspian Glocks that are really pretty, which I intend to add to my collection one day. So anyways, on with the review. So this custom guide rod comes just as you see here, and comes in two colors. Stainless silver, which is this one, and steel black oxide. And this guide rod is completely made out of steel and has been buffed up so much that this guide rod actually looks very, very shiny and very pretty and very smooth. Out of all the guide rods I have, this is probably has the best machining, finishing, and smoothness that I've ever seen. Like it's very rare to see something of this quality for airsoft Glocks, which is why I decided to give it a shot. Now, for you guys, here's a comparison between the stock Tokyo Marui guide rod and the OCT one. As you can see, they're very similar in shape, size, and structure. Only the base here at the bottom, as you can see, is slightly different. This one's slightly wider, and it doesn't have this indentation over here. And the tip is styled differently, it's very, very styled very, very uniquely on the OCT one, which is why I personally decided to get this. As for the weight, it is heavier than the stock Tokyo Marui one. So the stock Tokyo Marui one sits at roughly around 15.1 to 15.2 grams, as you can see here. Now, this is the OCT one. The OCT is roughly around 18.9 grams, okay? So roughly pretty much 19 grams, okay? So it is heavier, so this will help keep your muzzle flip down a little. Okay, so you guys are probably thinking, why on earth would you get this, okay? Well, for me, I got it because, as I mentioned before, it's because of looks. Because the styling at the front here is very unique. When you do have it on your slide, this is my detonator Bowie tactical slide. I basically like that look at the front, okay? That's personally the reason why I decided to get it. But then, of course, you have your functional reasons. Go through the list. First is the spring type. Spring type is just whatever kind of spring that you choose to use. Personally, I like these kinds, which is a very, very light start, but a hard snapback, okay? That's personal preference. You don't have to choose what I choose. This is just primarily a user preference, okay? Some people use buffers also, just to make the recoil, put the recoil spring under tension, okay? So keep that in mind. Second is smoothness. Okay, that's obviously the reason why people would normally look at this stuff, is that sometimes this cap over here creates a lot of resistance, especially with the garter ones. Now, again, I'm not saying I have something against garter. I'm just saying that if you pick up a garter one and you do this with it, it feels very, very gritty. It's because the guide rod is not smooth, and this piece over here is not smooth. So it just creates a very, very gritty sound, which sounds really bad. And I'm pretty sure every time it snaps back, it's not necessarily a good thing. If you use a garter guide rod for many, many years, you'll see scratches tend to form in the guide rod. Okay, it's just and by the way, that thing is actually a little bit loose on it. If you guys can actually tell. The third would be the weight. Okay, weight is normally something that you'll be concerned about if you're a competition shooter, or if you shoot your Glocks really, really quickly. The reason why weight is important is because it keeps your muzzle flip down. So it's sort of important. In general, if you get an upgraded guide rod, normally, or an upgraded recoil spring, if they come with a guide rod, they're normally heavier anyways. So, you know, well, actually, it sort of depends. You know, it depends on whatever setup you have, okay? But for me, the weight keeps the muzzle flip down. This is primarily something that you would find on a high Kappa. High Kappa, I believe their guide rods can vary in weight like by quite a bit because of just how big the guide rod normally is. Like relative to Glocks, like, you know, that thing is huge. This thing is like tiny, okay? So the fourth thing is the most important thing for me, okay? This is something that I really, really like, which is it's literally one solid piece of steel, and there are no loose ends, okay? Now, why is this important? Well, if you buy aftermarket guide rods like this one's made by Firefly. There's also another one made by SAF. What happens is that you can actually disassemble the ends, okay? Now, that's a bad thing, believe it or not, because you know, I know the assembling is good in some ways. You can constantly add buffers, swap out the spring, do whatever the hell you want with it. But then those caps come loose very, very easily. I think in the end, lots of people who buy those kinds of guide rods, what they do is that they thread lock the ends because they come loose so easily. You have to thread lock them. So thread locking them, you know, just sort of makes me set everything in here, and I can no longer swap anything out. I actually know a couple people in Hong Kong who bought the Fireflies, and this end actually just came right off, and they lost this after they field stripped it in like a lot of grasslands. So when this thing fell off, he couldn't find it. It was a pretty bad experience because the guide rod didn't work after that. Okay, so those were the reasons why I personally look at it. It may not be the same as yours, but if you really think about it, this guide rod, like if you think about your list, right? For me, this nails every single good point and negates most of the bad points. You know, even in terms of pricing, which I'll mention later on. Now, that being said, this is probably something that you'll only look at once you fixed up everything else in your Glock. I normally spend money on this on like last. I spend more money on the recoil spring. I get the recoil spring first, probably. The guide rod I'll probably fix up like much later on in the end, because this, like, I actually got this in the end just to top off the project, just because of the looks. Other than that, you know, this is probably something you get last. Okay, so let's just install it and show you guys what it looks like. Let me just put it in my slide. Now, I've decided to not use anything to secure the spring in, because the Bowie front is a little bit thicker, so you don't, you know, I don't think you need it, but if you like to, then sure. Okay, I'm just gonna put it directly onto mine. And excuse me for my stippled frame. This is my very poor attempt at copying the Bowie tactical stippling, so that's why it looks the way it does. I only recently decided to do this. It's made so that it looks a little bit like tree bark, or like tree. Okay, so as you can see, the front is styled very, very, very beautifully. Like, I don't know if you can tell. Like, it's more like something that you really, really have to care about the looks of your Glock in order to actually care about it. I really, really like the style of this, especially look how shiny it is. You know, a little bit of two-tone, a little bit of silver and black. That's primarily the reason why I decided to get it. Okay, so let me just find my mag wherever I put it. I think there's gas in here. Okay. Yeah, there's not much gas in here. Let me fill it up. There we go. Very, very shiny. Okay, so now about the price. So for me, the price was 167 Hong Kong dollars shipped to me. Okay, so if you think about it, that's actually not too bad, because that's actually around 20 US dollars, which is well worth it, because guide rods that I normally get here, I don't know about you guys, are close to the same price, maybe a little bit under, sometimes a little bit more expensive depending on which one you get, and those comes loose. Like as I mentioned, the SAF, for example, the Firefly one cost a lot. I believe that almost cost 50 US dollars. Maybe even more than that. I can't quite remember, but the Firefly ones are very, very expensive. The SAFs are not so common nowadays. I haven't seen one in quite some time. But anyways, the one key thing that you take away from this video though is this is like the quality is just incredible. Like I'm surprised OCT Strategic doesn't put out more Glock stuff. Like I would be very, very happy if they actually have stock like everywhere. Because I've seen some of their guide rods on their Glocks a short while ago, and it sort of took them a while to decide to actually sell the guide rod individually. I'm not sure, I cannot confirm this, but I'm pretty sure they have been making this for a while, because they made it really, 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 really beautifully, as you can see. Okay, and now to get this, to my knowledge, you can only get this from OCT Strategic. I'm not very familiar with the Japanese airsoft market, but for now, all I can tell you is that you can get it on OCT's website, which I have the link in the description below, or somewhere on the screen. Now, I know if you go there, the whole entire thing is completely in Japanese, but what you can do is email them directly, like what I did. They actually helped me organize the payment and all that, and the shipping and all that, which is awesome. They shipped it to me really, really quickly, because they only shipped me a mess. They sent it to me in a big rectangular box, which was really, really nice of them. So it protects it very, very well. It's sort of silly that I ordered one. I wish I ordered more. But anyways, I'll probably be picking up more from them again one day. So anyways, guys, that's it for the review. Let me know what you guys think. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. I also have a Facebook page where I tend to do more updates on just airsoft news and stuff. So, peace, guys. Happy shooting.